What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. In this video, we are breaking down wide receiver Bryan Edwards ahead of the NFL Draft, which is only a few days away. We're going to be continuing breaking down wide receivers and tight ends this week, and then we'll also post up videos after the draft, giving you guys an updated outlook on the fantasy values of these players. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get right into it. Before we get started, check out the link in the description. We are offering a free tail kickoff special for our fan companion tool. You get access all the way up into the kickoff of the NFL season for absolutely free, so make sure you check out that link. All right, today we are breaking down Bryan Edwards, wide receiver out of South Carolina. Now, I feel like this guy is getting very overlooked, especially in the fantasy community right now. Definitely fits more of the build of your prototypical alpha, coming in at 6'3", 212 pounds. Now, what's interesting to note is he's only 21 right now, but he's actually played through all 4 years in college, which actually isn't a great sign. Typically, receivers that are not early declarers, it becomes statistically a lot harder for them to break out, just based on what we've seen. I mean, the market really does tell the story. When a receiver is basically being told by the market they're not going to have decent draft capital, that's when they make the choice typically to stay another year. And it's not a complete death knell, but there are very few opportunities for a receiver coming out of college in his senior year for him to end up breaking out and being a mass producer in the NFL. That being said, there are a lot of things to like about Bryan Edwards. Guy is a massive high point. He's able to win a lot of contested catches. Definitely has that my ball mentality that you want to see in a big bodied guy. Incredibly acrobatic. Does have some issues with drops. And then probably his biggest issue right now is the fact that prior to running for the NFL Combine, he broke his foot, which really blows for his potential career trajectory now, because that probably means now he's going to be a day 3 guy in the NFL and NFL draft, which that's going to drop his fantasy value, and it will also make his potential of busting even higher. Because again, as we talked about in some other videos, when players are drafted later in the draft, it typically gives the teams that they go to kind of an excuse to blame more of their, if he has concentration drops, which we've seen in college, if he runs the wrong route, they have to be almost perfect for most coaches to come around to them if they didn't spend early draft capital on them. So you're basically taking a rope and you're cutting a few strands off of it and making it very, very, very loose and very easy to break. So Bryan Edwards is going to have to impress a lot of people if he goes late in the draft, especially 5th or 6th round. Hopefully he doesn't fall that far. His production profile out of South Carolina in the SEC is actually pretty ridiculous. 4 years in a row, the all-time leading receiving yardage wide receiver out of South Carolina. 94th percentile college dominator rating is ridiculous. Had 71 receptions in his final year in only 10 games, so averaging 7 receptions a game. Pretty ridiculous. Over 800 yards in 2 seasons. Never had a tremendous amount of receiving touchdowns, but never really played on a massive powerhouse offense. And again, playing in the SEC, he was playing against really good talent on defense. So, like I said, there's a lot to like about Bryan Edwards. He's probably going to end up falling pretty far in fantasy drafts because of his draft capital, but if you can nab him up in the end of the 2nd, early 3rd round, he has breakout potential and is definitely worth the investment there. There's a lot of guys that are being hyped up around him. If he's still there in the 3rd round, you got to take a shot on him. I think he has a tremendous upside in terms of if he can find the right fit and calm down on the drops a little bit, impress the coaches, he could actually be a massive alpha receiver for the team that drafts him. So really like Bryan Edwards a lot. He's going to be a draft day sleeper and a tremendous value at where you're going to get him. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We continue breaking down wide receivers and tight ends this week ahead of the NFL draft. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, check those out, and we'll see you in the next video.